You are listening to N.A.M.E Broadcast Radio, serving top professionals from all over the globe, with our international host, Mr. Steve Barron.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Steve Barron. I'm your host here today. This is N.A.M.E Broadcast Radio. I do have a very special guest I'm going to introduce. He has over 22 years' experience in the financial field. He is a registered financial advisor through his firm Bridgewest Financial Insurance Services, Incorporated, which provides financial advisory in Ramona, California, and throughout San Diego County. Specializes in retirement distribution planning, estate preservation planning, IRA rollovers, and college funding. Has a PhD from Princeton University. My guest here today is Cyril Roseman. Cy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine.
Good. Well, listen, I said good afternoon, but I forgot out in your jurisdiction. It is good morning. But listen, I'm looking at some of your academic background. It really speaks for itself. Before I get into really the specifics of what you do, or moreover, let you get into those specifics, tell me what it is and how it came about that you really entered into this field through your life. Let us know.
Very good question. I had spent the bulk of my adult life as a university professor. In the course of 25 or more years, I've taught at 9 different universities. I've held tenure at 3. I finally reached the age of early retirement at about 55. Okay. And I said, well, I would like to see what life holds for me now. I was in Hawaii at the time. At the University of Hawaii, I took retirement at that age. I came back to California, and looking around to see what I did next, I discovered by talking to my advisor for my investments, he said, I think you would do very well in this field. And so they gave me a test of my capabilities for doing this kind of work. I came out very well. And they said, okay, we'll take you in. This was IDS, the predecessor of American Express, which is the predecessor of Ameriprise. And they took me in and gave me training. I did not want to stay with that company. I wanted to be an independent. And so I left with the knowledge that I had gotten, and I have never gone back, and I have never gone to any wirehouses or other mainstream operations. I strongly believe in independent financial advisory services, and that's what I offer.
Okay, very good. What do you think are one of the most really serious economic problems that we are facing today, not only here in the United States, but throughout the world?
Well, more than in the United States, in other parts of the world, what we're finding is that there are some serious demographic problems where there is difficulty having the population even remain stable. It's declining in many areas, many countries. There is an inability to generate sufficient population growth to offset the death and dying that's occurring. What happens as a result is that the population in these countries gets older, and the countries are on a scramble to try to figure out how to get the population to increase childbearing. And this is happening in a variety of places. We're most familiar with the problems in Japan. We see it also now in Europe, in many countries. They have declining populations, and I just saw a report on Denmark. Now, in the United States, we don't have this problem, but the reason why we don't have the problem is because of immigration. It's not the domestic population that is here. It's the fact that the immigrants that come to America are younger, and they are more childbearing in nature, and so this is what's keeping us with a younger population, and we're avoiding this. But why is it a serious problem? Because the younger people have to inevitably bear the burden of supporting the elderly, whether they do it privately or through government. If they're not doing it privately, then it does fall to the government, even when we want to resist government programs that are very costly. but it keeps building up and building up. And so as we see more and more people in the United States aging, getting into their 80s, many centenarians now, and it's increasingly a burden on the working population that is younger. If that working population is not sufficiently large, then it means there's more of a burden, tax-wise and otherwise, on that working population. And so that's how we can say it is a worldwide problem that we tend not to identify as major, like global warming. But it's there. It's there just like problems with food supply. It's definitely there. We are having more people having the problem in their families, that they have more elderly to support for longer periods of time, and there aren't as many people, children and offspring, to do that support.
Mm-hmm. You've nailed it as far as I'm concerned. You convinced me, should I say. Again, our guest here today is Cyril Roseman, 20-plus years experience in the financial field out of Ramona, California, throughout San Diego County. And by the way, he's been a guest speaker on a wide range of financial subjects, has appeared numerous times on local TV news and broadcasts. Tell me, is there any significance really to why you have spent this many years with Centaurus Financial? Tell me more about that.
Most people don't understand that everyone that's in the financial field, they are either selling products and possibly services, but usually services are for a fee, or they're working on an exclusive fee basis, and they're registered investment advisors. But everyone who has any involvement with commissionable products, which includes stocks and bonds and mutual funds and annuities and so on, has to either have their own broker dealership, which is very complicated and costly, or they must have a broker dealer that they work through. And there are no exceptions to this. Now, the major broker dealers are sort of the wirehouses that we're familiar with, and I can say they tend to charge the most, and they have hidden problems for most people because they sell proprietary products, and people don't realize that they're paying more and they're getting less attention to what's available outside of that company. I have no interest whatsoever in any such proprietary products. I don't offer them, and that's one of the reasons why I left IDS. I wasn't interested in being part of American Express. Mm-hmm. So I've been with other broker-dealers in the past, but Centaurus is by far and away the best. It is a family firm, but it has nevertheless been very effectively run for more than 22 years, and it is ranked by Investment News, which carries out an evaluation every year, as one of the top 40. It's now moved up to 39th spot. And just to use one measure of why it's special, of the representatives that work for Centaurus or through Centaurus, 37% of them hold a CFP, Certified Financial Planning degree, which is the highest degree in the field. And I also hold a CFP. And 37% is a very large percentage of advisors to have that kind of background. Now, this is separate from how much money they have under management or how much they deal with a variety of different things that we might go into. But I'll say the treatment of us independent representatives by this broker-dealer is excellent. We get a lot of respect, we get a lot of support, we get a full recognition of our independence, and yet at the same time there's a lot of background due diligence that's done by this company on all the products that are listed that we can work with. So I'm very happy with Centaurus Financial, and I plan to stay with them for the rest of my career.
Good, very good. Listen, our guest, Cyril Roseman, financial advisor. Let me ask you a question here. You're looking to go out and find a financial advisor. I think it is similar to if you're looking for a doctor or you're looking for an attorney. Tell me what it is that they should really be asking you that would let them understand that you are the person who has really their best interests at heart.
Well, people that are what we call do-it-yourselfers are basically in an exploratory mode, but they're not going to make any decision to have any professional work on them. The rest of the population, to the good point of that population, is that they recognize that it would be the equivalent of pulling your own teeth, cutting your own hair, doing your own heart surgery. It's a good idea to have a professional serve you. So what is the first question? The first question, and the most important question, is, do you feel comfortable with this person? Do you feel like you could trust that person? If there is any doubt, if there is any question, if there is any hesitation, then you shouldn't deal with them. Flat out. It's not worth it. You have to feel that they're not going to take from you. They're not going to tell you stories. They're going to be honest. They're full of integrity. They have every piece of intelligence working for them, but working for them in your behalf, not in theirs. And that's why the CFP is an important mark. That's also why the AIF that I carry, Accredited Investment Fiduciary, is also important, because that's also a test of how much do we know about protecting the holdings, the assets of our clients with regard to fiduciary responsibilities. And so these are things to look at. I suggest that people go and check out whoever they're thinking of. They certainly can and should ask people that they have a high regard for who they're using, and don't hesitate to go exploring to see how you feel about these people.
Sure. Well, again, I appreciate that, and I think that's really an important aspect that needs to be taken into consideration. Our guest is Cyril Roseman. He is a financial planner here, has over 20-plus years in the industry. He's out in Ramona, California, and throughout San Diego County. But I do know you also have clients based out in Hawaii, Nevada, Colorado, North Carolina, Arkansas. So you are represented through a wide region here in the United States.
Can I, Steve, can I make a comment on that?
Of course you can.
It is required that we be licensed in any state in which we're doing business, whether insurance business or securities business.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that if somebody from a state that I'm not presently licensed with can't connect with me, if they go to my website, www.waytoretire.com, and they see stuff that interests them and they want to ask me a question or get in touch with me, they can. Mm-hmm. If there is any interest at all in doing anything with me, they should let me know. I can then take on a license in any given state for insurance or securities, and then give them complete service. And indeed, that's exactly how I operate. And that's why I am building more and more on a national model, because so much of what we see today is not done in the good old-fashioned face-to-face, let's shake hands, let's look one another in the eye. Yes, that may be true at the first meeting, but then after that, it's telephone, email, fax, text messages, and full-on involvement through electronic means. And so a lot of my clients are long distance, and they don't have a problem with it, and neither do I. And I would prefer clients that are comfortable working with electronic media to do business rather than just want to do a face-to-face, because then that restricts me to a certain relatively small geographic area. By relatively small, I mean, let's say, Southern California. Now, I happen to have a lot of clients in Northern California. And, Steve, as you've mentioned, I have had a substantial practice in Hawaii. I have a partner there that works in Hawaii. I'm still involved in Hawaii, even though I'm no longer playing a central role in Hawaii. But for many years, I developed Hawaii while I was still living in California.
Okay. All right. Very, very good. Again, you can reach out to him. Visit his website, www.way2retire. That is numeric 2retire.com. Now, let me ask you this. Let's look ahead, maybe when you decide, well, I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe I want to bring a partner in, somebody I can, an understudy, and somebody who can maybe one day take over the company. What is it you would like to do with your time after that?
Well, that's a good question. I will put it this way. I have always maintained that it's very important to keep my mind active and to keep doing mentally challenging things. That's why I always enjoyed being a professor. I also had a belief that it was valuable to go back and forth between the thinkers and the doers. And when I'm with the thinkers at the university, I stress issues and concerns of the doers that they don't understand. When I'm with doers, I stress the concerns of the intellectuals. But my concern right now is to service people in their financial needs, especially with regard to retirement and estate preservation. But that I also know that I would like to continue to be involved with policy issues in the world regarding not just finance, but things that I've worked with. I spent much of my lifetime working in the health field on health policy, health planning, health economics. And I would like to take a look at what's happening in other parts of the world going beyond finance as well. I don't immediately plan to put my primary energy there, but when I do move over more into a kind of retirement mode, then that's what I would look at, and I would look at writing and so on.
No question that an active mind is, not just going to sit by the wayside and decide that they're not going to do anything anymore. We understand all that. So listen, again, our guest today has been Cyril Roseman, 20-plus years experience in the financial field. His credentials speak for themselves, serving here with his firm, Bridgewest Financial and Insurance Services Incorporated. Really, they do provide financial advisory out here in Ramona, California, but he also understands the nature of what it is when you're looking to see how can I be secure when I am entering into the golden years of my life. And you really got to look at that and say to yourself, that is probably one of the most important functions one should be planning, and hopefully they start to do that when they were young. You can reach out to his website. You want to read more, it is www.way2retire.com. And Cy, I'm going to give you the last word, and I'm going to say, listen, I'm glad that you've been with us. It's been terrific. So I'm going to let you close.
Well, okay, thank you very much for this opportunity, Steve. I really appreciate it. There is one thing I would like to stress. I believe that my job is to provide the public with something that they otherwise are not likely to encounter. And that is this, that many people in our field of financial advisory services and retirement planning stress living benefits. That is, that there are payments that are made, or just like a pension, that continue as long as you live. And that's really very good. However, to do that ties up a lot of money, and that often what it means is that there is not very much liquidity or flexibility available in retirement funds for early retirement and enjoyment of life, whether it's cruises or other kinds of travel, or it's whatever it is that you that's on your bucket list that you want to do before you're stuck in a wheelchair. And to deal with that, I've come up with the idea of something that I call Freedom for Life IRA Rollover, which is especially designed for early retirement, in which you decide how much you want liquid and how much you would like to put away for long-term for your oldest years for protection. And if you are in your mid-50s, you should be devoting quite a bit of attention to this question. And in the years from 55 all the way through to 75, whatever you need in money, you should draw from the liquid side of your holdings, not the part that is designed to protect you in the long run. And so I've designed programs around that, and that's what I stress now, is Freedom for Life IRA Rollovers, especially for early retirement. I know that's a long plug for an idea, and there may not be time on the show for it, but
no,
that's
absolutely.
what I would close with.
Listen, I gave you the last word, which means you turned in the entire 2 paragraphs into 1 word. You didn't pause. It was perfect. Listen, it's been a pleasure having you here, Cyril Roseman. He is with Bridge West Financial and Insurance Services, Inc., and that is www.waytoretire.com. Our guest, listen, I'm going to let you go, but we'll be seeing and hopefully talking to you again soon in the future. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome. Take care, Si. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.